Right, let's do it. Let's talk about the rest of the LEC. So I'd start off with the team that is the top of the LEC. They went 3-0 on the Super Week. It's of course
Fnatic.
G2.
Oh, wait, never mind.
Should have been Fnatic, but wasn't, and we'll get into that. So, okay, Dom, I want to start here because normally this team G2, by the way, had the freest first week of all time, because think about it, every narrative in history is set up to allow them to potentially lose every game. If you go to the MSI, everyone knows the excuse. You're supposed to come back and go, oh, I was MSI, like I had to travel, I didn't have any time, and no one had any time. But in fact, they'd even have, by the way, the more extreme version of that, because as Yamato pointed out, they made their roster during Worlds last year. They've actually had this team going for ages. They've had loads of time under their belt. The wear and tear must actually be a lot more than even normal LEC teams. But also I'll add in as well, every talk show I listen to, no one believes in them. No one has them as the number one team. Everyone's like thinks like Yamato's team should get it together, or there's some people still believe in Rogue. Like, come on, Dom. They started out, they're looking fucking banging already. They look amazing in the opening week.
Yeah, I mean, I think they just look like they were just far and away the best team still. And I think the thing that's interesting is, I mean, normally when you have a team like they had that just went to MSI, the biggest problem is not that you like have a break, it's that there's normally a massive patch that you're dealing with. So
there you go.
Last time MSI was on a patch that incorporated like a lot of Rumble Jungle and Morgana, right? So then you come back to the LEC, there's no Rumble Jungle, there's no Morgana, they've been nerfed out of the game. Suddenly Viego is a champion that was not enabled all of MSI, then Gwen is the champion. It's like, what the fuck is all this? And that's where they fall behind. And I felt like the same thing could have happened to G2 with the durability patch. Like they only got 3 days of scrims. So I feel like the fact that they're still coming out of the gate so strong, I mean, it just makes them look like they're the favorite, because you'd assume that other teams like Fnatic and Rogue have been scrimming for like at least like 3 weeks now. And yes. Yeah, I mean, just right out of the gate, it seems like G2 just has a better understanding of how to function as a team, almost individual of what meta is. And it doesn't even look like they're really playing the meta. It feels like they're just kind of playing what they want to play. You know, like Yone, Diana, Yasuo was the comp they played against Fnatic. Or no, versus Rogue, I mean, sorry.
Yes.
Yeah, like I just felt like no one else would draft that besides for G2. What other team would draft Yone and Yasuo in the same team with a Diana jungle? It's just almost impossible, right? Like you're going to have one of them, and then, you know, you're going to throw a tank in their top lane. So I feel like G2 just seems like they're just still riding the confidence. And I mean, the thing that I tweeted out, and my mentality now is like, is Caps just going to be the best fucking mid laner in LEC again? Is he just going to be the god of LEC again? Because it seems like something happened where, you know, he got the crowd buff and he's just still going. He just looks so much better than everyone else. And that makes G2 a super scary team. That's what elevates them from being like, oh, are they going to be a second, third place team? Or are they going to be the best team, is having the best player in LEC in the mid lane.
What do you think, Yamato? Where's G2 at? Are they actually as good? Like, is this just like a slight overperformance? Are they the best team?
I think G2 is definitely the team to beat. I think everything speaks for it. I think with the meta, I think it is very open right now in terms of what you can play. There's a lot of room for different champions and different ideas of what you want to just draft. I think it will settle the moment we see more and more games on 12.11 in the Asian regions when LCK and LPO plays a little bit more and the copycats begin to emerge, and everyone just takes their drafts as the sacred thing that they are and just start playing it. But all in all, I think they are the most fundamentally sound team. I think in terms of how they connect and how they just open up on the map and how they fight together and how aware they are of each other and how patient they are and disciplined in the way they play. Of course, the games weren't like super crispy clean or something. There were some dirty games there, but in contrast to the rest of the league, like I can contrast it to us, like we were very dirty in our victories and even dirtier in our loss, right? So we have a lot of things to work on and a lot of things to catch up on. So for me, G2 is definitely the team to beat for us, maybe next to XL, but I'm assuming you guys are going to bring them up at some point.
Oh, of course, yes. Right, by the way, yeah. Dom brought it up, so I should definitely specifically ask about this. Like, as he says there, normally you're adapting to the new patch, like your players have just come back, you're from MSI, you're just trying to get baseline level. They're doing what about this fucking draft Nirvana? Okay, I'll set up for AUD didn't see the draft, they actually did a real comp of Yone, Diana, Yasuo, Senna, and Swain all in the same game, and they won the game as well, versus one of the best teams in the league. Well, we thought one of the best teams. Well, in theory, one of the best teams in the league. Rogue, right? That almost implies that they're just flexing at this point. Like, surely Yamato, they're just fucking around with that. They don't really think that's amazing comp, right?
I'm not sure. I don't remember what they played against.
You think they really believe that's real?
Yeah, I mean, I think that Swain, I think, is just a strong champion. For some reason, like, I mean, we saw Niski play it, but I mean, when you watch Asian region or LPL specifically, they love Swain. They like, that is just a champion that they think is broken, and it doesn't seem like it has the same ideas in LEC. But I feel like the way that they arrived on that is the Diana Yasuo is like, there is a specific entity which is good. The Yone top is good, and they think Swain is really strong. So if you're going to put Swain into the bot lane, you're going to have to pair with the Senna. So I feel like the way they arrived on it makes sense. I don't know if putting that whole comp together is something that you ought to be running multiple times, but I think that based on what they were playing into, the way they arrived on that draft made sense to me, at least. Like, I think that they were try-harding, and they legit think that draft is good there, and I think it did look pretty good there. So at least that's my take on it.
I just pulled it up, and I guess like how Rogue just locked in like Ornn 1-2, which is kind of strange, I guess, and then they just locked the Yone, and then the Silas blind into the Swain flex. I know that Targamas has played some Swain support. Last split, it was something that I spotted already. So I guess in some shape or form there is some level of cohesion and some sense to it. I'd say like Ornn was a big one at MSI, so I'm sure they like had a lot of answers ready in their pocket. Yon is a Broken Blade classic. I think when I'm looking at Rogue's draft, it kind of makes sense that it panned out the way it did in some shape or form. Yeah.
Funny thing is, if you Rogue, Rogue just got all the champions they want in theory. It's just that they didn't look what the other team was drafting. You know?
Well, I mean, I think this is the weirdest part about like playoffs in LEC is like, I mean, no other region had the same mentality around Ornn, where it was like, Ornn is this unstoppable pick. You just draft it top lane and you automatically win the game. Like, there was just no counter to it within LEC, and it feels like, you know, G2's already shown in their first time playing against it. It's like, oh yeah, you can just play like Yone into it. I mean, some teams internationally were running like Trundle plus, you know, just a matching top laner. So they'll run a tank top and they'll add a Trundle into their team comp, and that'll be how they deal with Ornn. But I mean, for Rogue, it seems like that's really confusing to them because they were the team that couldn't get around the Ornn. Like in finals, that's what felt like doomed them, is that, you know, they tried to find the answer to Ornn, which was Gwen, didn't work out, and then they didn't really know what to do with the pick afterwards. And you know, they gave it to BB again, and suddenly the Jace, which is another supposed answer at that point, ends up getting solo killed multiple times. So yeah, it was it's pretty rough. But I mean, one thing that I said about the comp there is I feel like the G2 comp is pretty balanced. Like, they have decent AP split, decent AD split. They have a lot of power. I mean, I think the one thing that you're a little bit worried about is having too much of one identity, where you have like the Yone, Yasuo, Diana all comboing in at the same time, and if the enemy team is able to somehow dodge that engage, they don't get like multi-man womboed, then maybe like the return damage will be too strong. But it seems like they were just ahead when it came to how they were going to approach the fights. And yeah, I mean, the Renata pick, which seemed like it was supposed to be the answer to it, where they all run in and then you just cast the Renata ult and something like Yone and Yasuo just turn on each other and kill each other. That never seemed to pan out in the game. It didn't seem like there was an answer there. So yeah.
Yes. I will say in general, I thought all in all it was a very impressive week by G2, not just because of the MSI historical angle where there's the excuse. You even look who they played. They ran the gamut of types of teams you can play. They played like potential contender Rogue, who hasn't made any roster changes. In theory, should be really strong. You have the XL team who've had this mystical boot camp everyone keeps bragging about, where they've gone up to fucking Shangri-La and played all the gods and the dojo masters and stuff. Really, in reality, Nelson just got them some scrims. So it is actually now provable that there is a reason to have him in LEC teams. So congrats, you've finally proven that. Just a joke there. Or is it? We'll see when he comes on the show. And then the last team they played was Astralis, who was supposed to be a bottom feeder, so you're supposed to get an easy win, but they made all these roster changes, and in theory you'll have a honeymoon period. So these can be tricky teams to play in your opening Super Week. They not only deal with everyone, practically every player in fucking G2 plays and looks good. Then there's the angle, like you said, Dom. One of the other reasons I thought G2 might drop down a bit is like Caps was just too good at MSI the first week, and then like the playoffs of LEC, like I thought surely, like, you know, comes back down a little little bit. Maybe he's between where he was at regular split and playoffs. Like, apparently he hasn't stopped at all. He's just fucking wrecking everyone, looks super sick. As you say, probably the best player in LEC. So already you've got like all these cool win conditions. Then I'll just throw in there, every single time people decide, like, I don't know why anyone would do this, Yamato. You know this, you coached the guy, but people just wake up. This is how people have to be contrarians. They wake up and go, I think today I'll just doubt Jankos. Don't know why I do it. People have tried many times, but you know what? I think I'll see doubt Jankos. Meanwhile, and then he just gets his fucking LL Cool J on, doesn't he? Like, don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years. Like, motherfucker, it's like he was trying to just show off the whole portfolio as well. Just comes out with a fucking boring ass trundle game into a Diana kick carry game into a bit of volley bear just to end the weekend and show that I actually am the daddy. All you junglers around here can just stay my fucking Padawans, who I will mercilessly wreck at any point in time. See you in the finals, dickhead. And then just moonwalked out the studio. So like, the whole team's just sick. Like, even though I don't believe it'll keep going the whole split, I'm sure eventually the other squads will get it together and it'll be really interesting. For now, they are just the best. You have to give it up to them. G2 just looks amazing in week one. Fair play. By the way, mad props to their coach and stuff. They must have done a really good job getting everyone back in sort of position and mentally in place to compete. Respect.
That's where we end the G2 topic. Just respect, and we just have a moment of silence afterwards.
Yeah. Moment of silence for all the other teams. Want to see more cool, funny, interesting clips based on topics from my content? Well, subscribe to this channel then, or, be a pleb and don't.